Good evening, everyone. It's just after 8, and I think it would be good if we could begin the 2020 Citizens Town of Sherborn Caucus. I appreciate you all taking the time to come out this evening. I want to particularly thank Janet Walsh and Jennifer Bethel, my cohorts on the caucus committee. Also, and as the evening progresses, I'll probably mention some people by name, but I want to particularly thank all of those, and I think more than we had anticipated, who were so kind to bring a variety of treats for refreshments this evening. And I would encourage all of you to take a moment through the evening to feel free to go get a cup of coffee or a cookie or whatever's left up there after I have a chance to get to it. In any event, I would like, as we have typically done the last few years, we've been very fortunate to have a couple of young people who serve on the board of the Sherborn Community Center Foundation share a few words with us. And we have two young ladies from Sherborn who are both sophomores at Dover Sherborn. And I believe Charlotte Bueller is first going to share those words. So Charlotte, if you would come forward, that would be great.
Thank you, Mr. Fisk, and welcome all to the 2020 Sherborn Town Caucus. My name is Charlotte Bueller, and I am a student director of the Sherborn Community Center Foundation. For the past 11 years, the student directors have been given the opportunity to provide open remarks to a tradition of a political caucus assembly that has held the town of Sherborn apart as a very special place to live. The venue that we are in tonight is one of Sherborn's finest historic jewels. This building was built in 1858, and after 162 years of existence, this building continues to stand strong as a gathering place for all members of the Sherborn community. The foundation that manages this building is a nonprofit made up of volunteers that are dependent on your generous donations to maintain this beautiful building. These volunteers include 4 student directors that are given the opportunity of a lifetime to learn how a nonprofit runs. We attend board meetings and have a handful of programs established that give back to our wonderful community. Our student director mission is to provide students with a fun and safe place to hang out. Our most popular programs include Friday night at the movies, game nights, Jammin' in the Red, and our Vote and Donate program held at Town Hall. I ran and got elected as a student director to continue on with the great tradition set before me and to ensure opportunities continue to exist for our youth in the Dover-Sherborn community. Thank you again for attending this evening. And now I would like to introduce a fellow student director, Claire Whitaker.
Thank you, Charlotte, and good evening, everyone. My name is Claire Whitaker, and I, too, am a student director here at your community center. I would like to take a moment and reflect upon the Foundation's mission statement: to promote a sense of community by ensuring that this community center is available to and used by Sherborn groups and organizations at minimal cost, and to fund, preserve, maintain, and schedule the use of this historic building. Tonight, I am proud to report that after 34 years since the formation of this foundation, we continue to fulfill our mission and truly are a place for everyone. The community center is like a home to me. I feel very comfortable here attending board meetings, acting out a passion of mine in high school plays and musicals, along with helping out at Friday night at the movies and our food drive that benefits A Place to Turn. It truly has been a fun and wonderful learning experience. Both Charlotte and I wish the nominees success this evening, and we thank the nominees for their involvement, their willingness to set up and share their skills and experiences, which make our town of Sherborn a very special place to live.
Thank you, Charlotte and Claire, both of you, for sharing words with us. And I want to particularly thank you as directors and the other directors of the Sherborn Community Center Foundation for providing this wonderful facility for so many occasions, and particularly for the caucus. It's very much appreciated, and those on the board and those of you who support the foundation, I want to thank you very much. So as we begin to move forward, I would like to at first read the caucus call. In accordance with provisions of Chapter 53 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the amendments thereto, if any, a caucus of the registered voters of the town of Sherborn, Massachusetts, is hereby called to be held at the 1858 Townhouse, Sherborn, Massachusetts, on Thursday, March 5th, 2020, at 8 p.m. for the purpose of nominating candidates for various town offices to be filled at the annual town election, that election to be held on Tuesday, May 12th, 2020, also to elect a town caucus committee and to transact any other business that may legally come before the meeting. The meeting will be called to order by a member of the town committee. The checklist of registered voters will be used, and that's signed by me, George Fisk, Janet Walsh, and Jennifer Bethel, as they constitute the caucus committee. I also would state at this point that we recognize a quorum has been met. I think that's something I haven't ordinarily stated, but it's really better that I do. And for those who would be interested, a quorum for this is 25, and we have exceeded that number, I think. So the first order of business is to elect the clerk for caucus. So at this point, I would entertain a motion, or I'm sorry, I would entertain a nomination for clerk of the caucus. Is there a nomination? I see something happening here.
George, I would like to nominate Libby Yan.
Libby Yan has been nominated as clerk for the caucus. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, thank goodness. I will entertain a motion that we vote by acclamation to elect Libby Yan as clerk. Is there a motion to that? And a second? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Libby, congratulations.
Thank you all. As the newly elected clerk, I will ask for nominations for the position of moderator for the 2020 Town Caucus.
Libby, I'd like to nominate George Fisk.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I declare the nominations closed and will entertain a motion that the clerk that I cast one ballot for George Fisk to serve as moderator. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Janet.
Yes, Libby, I had, if I could, I wanted to just take a moment to say something.
Certainly.
Okay. It's Janet Walsh. I'm part of the caucus committee. I've been doing this for, I'm not going to say, but I wanted to mention that I've been working with somebody for a very long time who has been truly eloquent, a true leader, and the caucus committees that have worked with him have always really, really been under some wonderful leadership and good guidance, and it's been a wonderful experience. I didn't know if George Fisk had a gavel, so we wanted to be sure that...
Janet, you're out of order. And I think you probably should have waited till the end of the evening. You don't know what's going to transpire between now and then. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. Janet has been on a good long time herself. Okay, well, you should all have, hopefully, a schedule before you. And I think what's important, I'm hoping that you will take note of the various dates that we will enjoy through the spring. And these are important dates in many different respects. So as time allows, if you would look through those, I would appreciate it. I do want to take the time now to explain. I know many of you have been here many times, and a lot of this may very well be old hat, but for some who either can't remember or they haven't heard this before, the process for this evening is to, as we've said, elect hopefully one individual for every spot that's available for those terms that are coming due this year. And we will do that, and if those people become the nominee, the caucus nominee, and their names will appear on the ballot at the election. However, you should know that if there's a contest, and there may be, and somebody is unsuccessful, they certainly still have an opportunity to take out papers. Carol Marple, our town clerk, is here this evening and has nominating papers for anyone who'd like to take them out. And in fact, you can take out nominating papers whether you run tonight or not. So please be aware of that. As we move forward, I'm going to be asking for nominations for each of the various positions that are open. And I would ask that if you would like to place somebody's name in nomination, that you approach the microphone. If you'd state your name and address and speak about the qualities of your candidate that you think are favorable to us voting favorably on that person. We'd like to try to limit that to no more than 2 minutes. So we will begin that process. If people have questions along the way, it's not such a large group that we can't answer questions for you. So having said that, I think we should begin to run through the various positions that we have. Hopefully everybody has that schedule. So the first position is that of moderator, and Mary Wolf is the incumbent. And I see somebody, I recognize her from somewhere, who would like to give a nomination, I suspect.
Hi, I'm Corey Lickett, and I live at 10 Great Rock Road. I'm happy to nominate Mary Wolf for moderator.
Mary Wolf's name has been placed in nomination. Are there any other nominations for town moderator? Hearing none, then Corey, would you like to say a few words before we vote?
In the interest of time, I'll simply say she's great. Vote for her.
Great. Thank you, Corey. All right, then I will entertain a motion that the nominations be closed. The clerk cast and that the clerk cast one ballot in favor of Mary Wolf as the town moderator. Motion is made. Is there a second out here somewhere? There's one right in the front row here. Thank you. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? And is Mary here? Yes, and Mary, I apologize. I should have let you stand. So I'm good. You're good. Okay. Okay, we will continue on. And the next position is that of select board. And as you will note, there are two people who are incumbents whose terms are up this year. And because they both have the same 3-year term, we will, my plan is to vote on both of those at the same time. So I will now entertain nominations. Steve.
I'm Steve Leahy, 12 Woodland Street. I'd like to nominate George Morrill.
George Morrill's name is placed in nomination. Chuck?
Hi, Chuck on Maple Street. I'd like to nominate Paul Durensis.
Paul Durensis' name is placed in nomination. Are there any other candidates for select board? Steve, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. So, as noted, I'm nominating George Morrill for a role on the select board again. George is currently the sitting chair of the select board, and previously has been chair of the Sherborn Advisory Committee, as well also being on the Revenue Development Committee. And George has served this town since 2011. George and his wife Alexandra have lived in town since 2004. They've got 2 kids in the public school. George was educated at Cornell and then Babson for his MBA, and professionally George is in commercial real estate. I know George on a personal level as I work with him on issues that come before both the Sherborn Advisory Committee, of which I'm a member, and the Select Board. George's intelligence and historical knowledge of this small town's unique needs, this town's expectations, and our challenges make him exceptionally well suited to be a part of the Select Board. I respect George greatly for the fact that when issues do come up, George not only gathers information, he listens to opposing points of views before coming to his own conclusions. I hope you'll join me in voting for George.
Thank you, Steve. Chuck?
Hi, I'm pleased to nominate Paul Durensis for the Sherborn Select Board. It's been my pleasure to work with Paul for more than 5 years on the board, and the board has dealt with many serious and challenging issues during those 5 years. Paul's been a collegial and invaluable member of the board. He and Linda have lived in Sherborn for more than 35 years, and all of their children graduated from the DS schools. Paul is one of the leading municipal town councils in the Commonwealth, and he has contributed his expertise and enthusiasm to Sherborn for more than 30 years. He has served as member and chair of the Select Board, formerly known as the Board of Selectmen, Advisory Committee, Planning Board, Housing Partnership, and Groundwater Protection Committee. Paul is a graduate of Harvard College and Harvard Law School, but I would ask you not to hold that against him. He's been recognized as one of the best municipal lawyers in New England and a New England super lawyer, which is an elite group of the top 5% in their field, peer-reviewed and selected, and that's happened 12 times. He's the past president of the Massachusetts Select Board Association. He's been an advisor to several governors on local government issues, and he brings his expertise to many statewide, regional, and national committees. I'm going to shorten my speech by several minutes by not listing all of those committees. But it's primarily Paul's work for Sherborn and his many accomplishments here that I want to briefly note. He was involved in the transfer of the ownership of Farm Pond from the Commonwealth to the town of Sherborn. He led the complex negotiations along with Jim Campbell with utilities, the Commonwealth, and abutters to provide cell phone coverage in eastern Sherborn. He was involved with the development, approval, and construction of Leland Farms, the renovation and construction of town schools, fire stations, police department, town hall, and DPW. Finally, Paul has opposed many projects in town that were out of character with the community, like 31 Hunting Lane and 41 North Main Street, while supporting other developments that fit with the character, such as Woodhaven, Leland, Abbey Road, Coolidge Crossing, and the and several other projects. Paul is very knowledgeable, accomplished, and committed, and I hope that you will support his nomination and re-election to the Select Board.
Thank you, Chuck. I neglected George. I know is here. I saw him. There he is in the back. Thank you, George. And Paul, you are here. If you want to be recognized, thank you. I'm going to take the vote, and then there's another message that I neglected to give you, but we're not so far through the proceedings that it's an issue. But in any event, I will now entertain a motion to have both George Morrill and Paul Durensis re-elected for a 3-year term for Select Board. Motion? Here, second? Second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed? So what I neglected was to be sure, because Jennifer Bethel is right here with a clipboard, and what is most important is that you not only get elected, but you formally accept by signing a state form that we use, and we need to turn into the town clerk no later than Monday. And so as you are elected, please, Jennifer will be looking for you, and please sign, and there also is attached to that a sheet that's most helpful if you put your email address down. I know the town clerk would be most appreciative if you did that. So, and just as you may be interested, I'm anticipating a few people may get elected to positions who are not here this evening. And that's okay, but we do need their signatures by the end of the day on Monday as well. So we may be working this weekend on a few different items. So, having said all that, we can continue along. The next position is that of town clerk, and Carol Marple is the incumbent. Do I have nominations for town clerk?
Carol Marple, Western Avenue. I place into nomination the name of Jackie Morris.
Jackie Morris's name has been placed in nomination. Are there any other nominations for town clerk? Hearing none, then I'll declare it closed. And Carol, would you like to say a few words about Jackie?
I would. Thank you, George. Jackie has lived in Sherborn for over 25 years, and she and her husband Dave have raised their 2 boys here. The boys went all the way through the Dover-Sherborn school system. Town government is actually a second career for Jackie. She worked for Levi Strauss and Company in major account sales for over 20 years. And she's been in my office for over 5 years. And the past few years, she's been the assistant town clerk. She's already completed a 3 summer course at the New England Institute for Municipal Clerks, which is a pretty prestigious feather to have in her cap. She has also already been appointed by the Select Board as the interim town clerk to serve from April 2nd, when I will be gone, until the election in May. So I hope you will join me in voting for Jackie at the election. Thank you.
Thank you. Jackie, would you like to stand so people, there you are, thank you. So I'll entertain a motion that the clerk cast 1 ballot in favor of Jackie Morris to be the caucus nominee for town clerk for the ensuing 3-year period. All the motions made. Second? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, thank you. The next position is that of assessor. And Bill Seymour is the incumbent. And are there any nominations? I think maybe.
George?
Yeah.
If I may?
Yes.
I would just like to publicly thank Carol Marple for 21 years of great service to this town. Thank you very much, Carol.
Thank you, Robert. Carol, very well deserved. Thank you. So, now, Marion.
Yes, I'm Marion Neutra of Prospect Street, and I'd like to nominate Bill Seymour.
Bill Seymour's name has been placed in nomination for a 3-year term on the Board of Assessors. Are there any other nominations for that position? All right, would you like to say a few more words?
Yes, Bill was elected to the Board of Assessors in 2016, and he brings a lot of expertise to that position. He had a career in marketing, and he's a statistician par excellence. And I experienced Bill's expertise in 2014 when I joined the planning board. And we embarked on the job of writing the new master plan for the town. And the foundation and the document that we've referred to again and again was an analysis of the 2014 citizen survey that Bill devoted many weeks and months to analyzing the data and making it in a form that was very, very useful to the planning board. He's lived in Sherborn for a long time. He's served Sherborn for many years along with his wife, Rosemary, and he's certainly dedicated to Sherborn and to community service. So we're very fortunate that he's agreed to continue serving on the Board of Assessors in that very important role. And I hope you accept his this nomination and vote him for the Board of Assessors.
Thank you. And Bill, I think I saw him earlier. There he is. Thank you, Bill. I will now entertain a motion that the nominations be closed. The clerk cast one ballot for Bill Seymour for assessor. Motion's made here, second up front. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, thank you, Bill. Sherborn School Committee, the incumbent is Angela Johnson. Are there nominations?
Hi, I'm Ann Hovey, 6 Wood Road, and I'd like to nominate Angie Johnson.
Angie Johnson has been nominated for re-election as a caucus nominee for the annual election. Are there any other nominations? Ann, would you like to say a few words?
I promise I'll keep it really short. I've had a chance to work with Angie this last year. She was the chair of the Sherborn School Committee, and I, in my role as the chair of the region, and I found her to be intelligent, thoughtful. Her background in law was really helpful in contract negotiations and in policy, and she does a really great job. And so I say thank you to her for the last 3 years and hope that you vote so she can continue to serve the schools.
Great, thank you. Is Angela here? There she is, good. Hello, thank you, Angela. So now a motion that the nominations be closed and the clerk cast one ballot for Angela Johnson for school committee made, and there's a second over there. Thank you, Robert. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed? We're moving along nicely. And the trustees of Samhain Academy, the incumbent is Ann Whitlock. Are there nominations for trustees of Samhain Academy?
Hi, good evening. Dave Welch, South Main Street. I'd like to nominate Elizabeth Hoffman.
Elizabeth Hoffman has been nominated for trustee of Samhain Academy, and that is for a 5-year term. Are there any other nominations? Would you like to say a few words about your candidate?
Yes, thank you. Elizabeth Hoffman has been a resident of Sherborn since 2008. She has been a Pine Hill parent since 2011 and currently has children in kindergarten, 3rd, and 5th grades at Pine Hill. In town, she has volunteered for several years as treasurer for Girl Scout Troop 66049, as well as treasurer of the board of ECDC Nursery School. Elizabeth works for the TJX companies in Framingham, where she manages IT solution delivery for marketing. She holds various professional certifications in program, resource, and budget management. Thank you.
Very good. Is Elizabeth here?
She's not.
She's not. Okay, thank you. So she is not here. She is somebody we will be attempting to catch up to. I suspect we will. So at that being said, I will entertain a motion the nominations be closed. The clerk cast one ballot for Elizabeth Hoffman to serve a 5-year term as a trustee of Samhain Academy. Paul, thank you. Robert, thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Moving on to library trustees, we have 3 positions, 3 individuals whose terms expire this year. Mary Moore, Jim Murphy, and Jennifer Searle. Are there nominations for library trustees?
Yes, I'm Brian Connolly from Thoroughbred Drive, and I'd like to nominate Erin Carroll and also nominate Frank Orlando.
You're placing 2 in, all right, Frank Orlando, and is there a...
And there's a third. I'm Mary Moore, 49 Farm Road, and I'd like to nominate Max Kleisner.
Max Kleisner. Are there any other nominations for library trustees? If not, then I wonder if you'd care to say a few words about your 2 candidates?
Sure. Erin Carroll has been a resident of Sherborn for over 10 years and is an active member of our community. While balancing her career as a partner in a retained search firm and raising 2 children with her husband, Andrew, Erin has demonstrated her interest and commitment to our town and resources through her various volunteer efforts. She's currently a member of the Governance Task Force, where since 2018 she has worked alongside other task force members to study the structure and governance of the town of Sherborn in comparison to other similarly sized towns. And as you may know, the task force introduced 4 articles at the town meeting last year, all of which were passed. Prior, Erin served for 3 years as a member of the Friends of the Sherborn Library, both in fundraising and as a treasurer. And she's also been an active parent and volunteer at Pine Hill School and was a homeroom teacher for 4 years and is currently coaching the 4th grade girls basketball team.
Thank you.
And then I'll continue on for Frank Orlando. Frank is, has an engineering degree from Cooper Union and an MBA from Harvard Business School. Much of his career was with Hewlett-Packard, and after 32 years, he retired and took on several interim positions managing nonprofits. As for town activities, he's managed the Dover Sherborn Soccer Club for several years, chaired the Recreation Committee in Sherborn for many years, and was also co-commodore of the Sherborn Yacht Club. His wife Denise and he had lived in Sherborn since 1978. His son attended the DS schools and now lives in Norfolk with his wife and 2 daughters.
Great, thank you. Mary?
Thanks. I'm happy to nominate Max Kleisner for library trustees. Max lives in Sherborn with his wife Leanne and their 11-year-old son Barron. They have 2 cats and a very large dog named Rex, who is a Leonberger. And I had to look it up because I wasn't familiar with that breed. It's a jumbo-sized dog, which is a mix of a Newfie, a long-haired St. Bernard, and a Great Pyrenees. So Max and his family and this very large dog moved to Sherborn in 2017, just across the street from the library and the police station on Sawin Street. He grew up in Seattle, Washington. He spent summers working on the family orchard in Central California. He went to school for international business and has a minor in French and German. He attended school in Austria, and he's also lived in Germany and France. He's a program and a project manager specializing on a focus of organizational turnaround management. And I've gotten to know Max through various exchanges about the library project, and I can say with full confidence that he'll make a great addition to the library trustees. He'll bring diverse perspectives to the board, as well as his relative newcomer status to Sherborn, and as an abutter. He's got a passion for planning, organizing, and making things better, and that comes as at an important time as we push forward to the completion of this project in 2020. He's told me that he looks forward to serving, and his organizational background, as I said, will be a big benefit to the board. Once the project gets done, he'll be able to help us plan for the future. So I hope you join me in supporting him.
Thank you. I know Frank Orlando is not here. Is Aaron Carroll here? There you are, Aaron. Hi. And is Max Kleisner here? Max, hello. Thank you. All right. We have 3 candidates for those 3 positions. Entertain a motion. Nominations be closed. Clerk cast 1 ballot for each of Frank Orlando, Aaron Carroll, and Max Kleisner for a 3-year term on the library trustees. Motion is made and seconded over here. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, thank you very much. And moving on to water commissioners, I see a familiar face.
I'm Roger Demler from Maple Street. I'm pleased to nominate Brian Moore for re-election to the Water Commission.
Are there any other nominations for water commissioner? And Brian, I think, is here. Yep, there's Brian. And Roger, would you like to say a few words?
Brian is a professional environmental engineer, and he's been working with the Water Commission from, this is probably his 3rd term, something like that, and had a lot to do with the progress on the Town Center Water and Wastewater Options Committee, and we hope to keep going and keep providing the town with information on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Motion, nominations be closed. The clerk cast 1 ballot for Brian Moore for a 3-year term on the Water Commission, made over here, seconded here. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed. And we're moving on to Cemetery Commissioner. Before we do that, there is a slight addition here, and what I want to explain is Gene Hom, his term is up this year, and that's a 3-year term. However, the Caucus Committee was notified yesterday that one of the other members, Susan Tyler, whose term does not expire for another year, has given notice that she is going to step down effective the day before the election. And that being the case, we've considered the circumstances and have talked with the town clerk, have talked with elections and registration, and so we're going to move forward with 2 different positions voted separately. First, I want to, if I may, work on the 3-year term for Cemetery Commission, and that is Gene Hom, and I would like to entertain any nominations for that 3-year term.
So done.
I nominate
I don't know who you are.
Chucky Blaney. I live next door to you.
Who, are you Chucky Blaney?
I said Chucky Blaney.
Okay.
I live next door to you, and I'm Janet Walsh's mother.
All right, are there any other nominations for a 3-year term as Cemetery Commission? I don't think so. Chucky,
No.
would you like to say a few words about Jean?
I think you all know us, and you don't need another lecture.
All right. That being said, entertain a motion the nominations be closed, that Jean Hahn be the caucus nominee for Cemetery Commission for a 3-year term. Motion is made here, seconded over here. Thank you. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Oh, great. Thank you. Jean, you are here somewhere. There you are. There you are. Thank you. And now we're going to take up what will be a 1-year term for Cemetery Commission. And so that being the case, entertain nominations for that position.
Good evening, all. My name is Susan Tyler. I am the Cemetery Commissioner that will be stepping down regrettably. But it is my honor to recommend or nominate Brian Buckler for this 1-year position. He is the 3rd generation of his family to live in this town. He got a bachelor's degree from UMass, and then he proceeded to go on to Yale and get a master's degree in archaeology. He has helped me at the Central Cemetery doing some research, and he is very excited for this position, and I'm excited for him. So I would recommend that we nominate Brian Buckler for the 1-year term for the Cemetery Commission.
Brian Buckler's name has been placed in nomination. Are there any other nominations for that 1-year term? And is Brian here?
No, he is not.
He is not. Okay. I'm going to need his signature. All right. Entertain a motion the nominations be closed. The clerk cast 1 ballot for Brian Buckler for the 1-year term on Cemetery Commission. The motion's made and seconded. Thank you. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, thank you, Susan. Planning Board. There are 2 individuals whose terms expire this spring. It is a 3-year term. Do I have nominations for the Planning Board?
Hello, George. Jeff Waldron, Surrey Lane, and I'd like to nominate Marian Neutra for re-election to the Planning Board.
Is she here tonight? Yeah. All right, thank
She
you.
is here
Marion.
tonight, and she wants to nominate Chris Owen for re-election to the planning
Chris
board.
Owens, re-elected. Are there any other nominations? Jeff, would you like to say a few words about the person standing next to you?
I definitely would. I'm here to nominate Marian, as I said, and many of us in town have seen her energetic and passionate support for zoning policies and development decisions that preserve Sherborn's healthy environment, open space, and safe water resources. However, until she made the mistake of sharing her resume with me, I had no clue about her professional accomplishments, so I want to share a few highlights with everyone who may not be aware. Marian is a Fulbright scholar from the University of Michigan who earned her PhD from McGill University and an honorary PhD from Carleton College. She's a retired professor from Harvard Medical School, where she had a long career as a research scientist and instructor at both Harvard and Boston Children's Hospital. Marian was the 2nd woman ever to attain the rank of Harvard professor at Children's Hospital. She directed a research group for over 30 years, kept it funded all the time from the NIH, and published over 150 scientific articles. She's also held a number of leadership positions at Harvard and nationally, and I just want to mention a few. She was chair of the Harvard Medical Curriculum Committee. She was chair of the NIH AIDS Research Committee, and she was chair of the World Health Organization Committee on Vaccinology in Geneva. And there's also been a chair named for her at Harvard Medical School. In Sherborn, Marian served on the planning board for the past 6 years. She was an organizer and lead writer of our master plan, As many people know, she was also chair of the Open Space Committee and led the writing of the 2018 Sherborn Open Space and Recreation Plan. So we're indeed lucky to have Marion as a friend and neighbor, and please join me in supporting her and thanking her.
Thank you, Jeff. Marion?
Yes, I am happy to nominate Chris Owen for re-election to the planning board. Chris is a dentist who has he practices in Wellesley, has the good judgment to not live in Wellesley, but to live in Sherborn. And he and his wife Marie raised their kids here in Sherborn. He lives right in the middle of town. He's very committed to the town. He's already contributed quite a lot to Sherborn. He served on and chaired the Board of Health for several years. And now he's on the planning board. And I have to say, I've served with Chris for the last 4 years. And I think all the planning board will agree that we really value Chris's style on the planning board. He asks us, as well as the audience, but especially us, really tough questions. He's always being the devil's advocate when we're putting forth a policy or a decision. He always considers unintended consequences and makes us do the same. He's particularly cognizant of the effect of any of our decisions on abutters and other residents of the town. And we definitely value his role in that way. So when Chris speaks, we all listen. And we're influenced in many positive ways by Chris. So I hope you'll join me in voting for Chris Owen.
Thank you. And Chris, you want to stand and be recognized so people know who you are? Okay, hand up. That's good enough. All right. So we have two nominees for two positions. That, in that circumstance, I will ask that we have a motion. The nominations are closed, and the clerk cast one ballot for each Marion Neutron, Chris Owen, for a 3-year term on the planning board. A motion is made by Paul and seconded by Robert. Got a team over here. It's great. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. Congratulations. And moving on, Dover-Sherborn Regional School Committee, and Ann Hovey is the incumbent. Nominations.
Hi, I'm Angela Johnson on 44 Page Farm Road, and I would like to nominate Ann Elizabeth Hovey to continue on in the Regional School Committee. On a personal note, I have gotten to know Ann as a part of the Sherborn School Committee in the region when we meet jointly. She has been my mentor. Ann has served for 9 years in our school system. She's done myriads of searches for both the administrators and teachers, and has served on numerous committees for policy, buildings, and facilities. And because of her experience, she has a great understanding of our budgeting process and how we maneuver in the school and marry the interests of our school and town resources together. Ann's background is, in fact, in education. She has a master's in education from Harvard, and she taught and coached and served as an administrator at the high school level. So that also gives her a unique insight as to how our schools run and how, as a town, we help with our policy and budget-making decisions. She's lived in Sherborn for over 20 years, and she's always served the community. She's been everywhere from the CSA at Pine Hill to serving on the lacrosse league as a board member. So please join me in supporting Ann and letting her continue to also be my mentor.
Good. Thank you. Any other nominations for Regional School Committee? Ann, we know who you are, but why don't you stand and there, thank you. Now entertain a motion that nominations be closed. The clerk cast one ballot for Ann Elizabeth Hovey for a 3-year term on the Regional School Committee as the caucus nominee. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed? I'm going to take one brief break here. I want to, before time marches on any further, I want to especially thank Mary Ann Clancy, Renee Montella, Jeannie Guthrie, and Mary Moore for helping with the check-in. I know several of them have done this year after year, and I hope they don't stop because it's a huge help to us. I appreciate it. I also want to thank Ken Adams, Tom Ermston, Alicia Goody, and Ed McGuire for being our tellers. They look exhausted. So, let's see, where are we? Board of Health. We have two people whose three-year terms expire this spring, Lisa Camp and Matt Vitale. Are there nominations for Board of Health?
Matt Vitale, 1 Mill Street. I'd like to nominate Lisa Camp. I'll be brief for two reasons. One is because that's what Lisa would really truly want, and two is because I bet her $5 we could be done by 9. So what I would say is after 3 years of service on the board with Lisa, the things that sort of stand out to me the most is her balanced approach, her solution-focused mindset, and her succinctness. So on that note.
Right, okay. Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Camp on Western Ave, and I wanted to nominate Matt Vitale. And I do have just the 4 words, but I am going to say a little bit about Matt. He's our only member from the wilds of Alaska. And Matt is a hospitalist at the Brigham, where he has to serve a very diverse population with both compassion and care. And I think that makes, that really speaks to his demeanor. And I think Matt, if I had to sum him up in 4 words, it is astute, measured, compassionate, and collaborative.
All right, well, both of them have stood, so I will now entertain a motion that both Matt Vitale and Lisa Camp be the caucus nominees for Board of Health for a 3-year term. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed. We have a Recreation Commission. David Goldberg is the incumbent. It's for a 3-year term. Oh.
Bo O'Connell, 101 Farm Road, and I'm here to propose Dave for continued service on the Recreation Committee.
All right. Are there any other nominations for Recreation Commission for a 3-year term? I don't see any. Bo, do you want to share a few words?
Yes, I do, please. So Dave's been on the committee for 3 years, just finishing up his first term after he took over as chair from Leo Kavanaugh. Having worked with Dave over the last 3 years, I really can't understate the vital role he has played within the rec department. He standardized a bunch of processes while gaining transparency and predictability to both the operational and financial sides involved in running the group. As a result, the organization is much better positioned moving forward under his leadership. Just super impressed with his focus on strategy, details, and execution while doing all that in a collaborative manner. Dave's been a driving force in upgrading baseball fields, getting pickleball in town, as well as just continued improvement to all the athletic and recreational areas that all of us love to enjoy. Dave grew up in Sherborn, moved back here about 8 years ago with his wife and 2 kids to raise his family in a community he knows well. Dave is a tremendous asset to the Recreation Department. I strongly advocate his nomination and continued service to the town.
Good. Thank you, Bo. Is David here?
I don't believe he is.
He is not. Okay. Before we take the vote, Jennifer, I just want to ask, how are we doing with signatures?
We are up to date.
All right, good. Okay. I'll take the vote now. Entertain a motion the nominations be closed. David Goldberg be the caucus nominee for Recreation Commission for a 3-year term. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? So congratulations to David. Thank you. I do have a couple of bits of more business to conduct. One is a vote, and I will read it to you, and I'll need a motion on this. I will entertain a motion to empower the Town Caucus Committee to fill any vacancy occurring as a result of a caucus nominee dying, hope not, withdrawing, hope not, or becoming ineligible, hope not, for the position prior to the election, and to make arrangements for next year's Citizens Town Caucus. A motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, we need to move on now and elect the caucus, Citizens Caucus Committee for the ensuing year 2021. So, are there nominations for those 3 positions?
Jennifer Bethel, Nason Hill Road. I'd like to nominate Janet Walsh.
Very good, thank you. Jeannie?
Jeannie Guthrie, 29 Lake. I'd like to nominate Rick Novak.
Thank you very much. Janet?
Janet Walsh, 10 Wood Road. I'd like to nominate Abigail Fisk.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? If there are none, then I will entertain a motion that the nominations be closed and that those three individuals be elected as the Citizens Caucus Committee for the ensuing year. A motion is made by Paul, seconded by Robert. Any further discussion on any of that? I don't think so. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, is there any other business that anyone would like to bring up this evening? Good night. We're adjourned.